regular stuff tastes like the real stuff. And it's in the same restaurant. They don't have a separate area where they make, you understand what I'm saying? They don't have separate. But I would suggest, if you trust the people, and if you know, and you could be able to talk to someone that, you know what, I'm sensitive to these certain things and I really don't want them in my diet at all. If you got an ability to do that, if you could talk to the chef, manager, whoever it may be, I would suggest you do that. Because some places you really can't trust. But I would really suggest that if you do go out, talk to someone, just don't sit there and then just wait on the menu and then look at the menu and say, okay, I'll take the vegetarian burger with the side of this and the side of that, with French fries. I mean, so.
I think there's a question in the back.
Yes.
The white shirt in the back.
I got the mic, thank you.
Oh, you got the mic.
Question, soy, what's your opinion on soy products? Is the jury still out on soy products, or are there any health benefits?
That's a real polarizing conversation, and I think those particular things, do you want?
I'll say something.
Yeah.
I actually eat a lot of soy as a vegan, but I am careful as a woman not to eat too much because soy has natural plant estrogens in it that can unbalance women's systems very easily. So I make sure that I only have 1 serving of soy a day. I'm very conscious about that. But soy is good for you in moderation, is what I believe, and what I've read and what I've heard. Just like any other food, like for instance, you can die from eating too many carrots. If you eat carrots all day, you're going to turn orange, get vitamin A poisoning, and drop dead. Basically, the name of the game is balance, I eat 1 serving of soy a day, and I try not to eat isolated soy protein, because isolated, you'll see, it'll say on a package, isolated soy protein. Isolated soy protein is when they take the protein, the main protein component in soy, and they isolate it, but that has the most estrogens in it. So it is just like, overloaded with estrogen, whereas normal soy is a totally normal amount that your body can process.
There's a product out there called Gardein, which was put out by a gentleman named Tal Ronan, who wrote The Conscious Cook. He's quite celebrated out in California in the vegan community. I eat his product once in a while, but I think it does come back to balance. And what protein are you using? If you're somebody who is a vegan, you have certain options. You have to eat something, and if you're not eating it often and it's satisfying you, there's nothing wrong with that. People, you read 1 week in the New York Times, agave's good, and then they come out 6 months later, agave's bad. So part of it becomes building your own truth based off of the information that's out there and seeing what feels right for you and what your doctor's speaking to you about, or your nutritionist, and how food makes you feel as well. So that's why, when people ask those questions, it's very loaded, and it all depends on specifically where you are in your own eating life. And that's something we can address more specifically outside individually with people.
Hi. I'm sorry, is that okay? I have some really basic questions for some people some other people in the room might be like me and just wanting to make a change immediately. I'm committed and encouraged to go plant stronger. I am far from vegan, but just for people, for normal folk, without all the talk of agave, because I just learned that last week. But how do you cook without oils? Help me with that. How do we feel? What are we drinking besides water? Because, I've conditioned my children. You can have skim milk, you can have water wherever they go. So water is great. What else are we drinking? Because we've learned about the high sugar content in juices and all those sorts of things, and fruit juices. So what are we drinking all day? What am I getting my kids to drink? What alternatives do I have for them in school? Because it's going to be low-fat milk and often low-fat chocolate milk in school. So what am I cooking with? And how do I make a change? How can I institute some simple changes tonight?
Well, since I have the mic, I'll say something. Not all oils are bad to cook with. I mean, you might disagree with me. But, to your milk question, There are non-dairy milks made out of almond, made out of rice, made out of hemp, made out of hazelnut, made out of, goes on and on and on. I mean, there's so many different milks you can buy. And there are chocolate versions of those milk. My favorite is a chocolate almond chocolate milk that I drink all the time, actually. So that's a very easy thing to solve, and you can get those at Whole Foods or Mrs. Green's or anywhere else. I'll let someone else answer the oil question.
Okay, so I'll just say that you know, you can Google Dr. Esselstyn and see what his impression is of oil, but his opinion is that it's inflaming and it is a processed food. So you know, again, you get a panel together and we are all reading different information and are basing our comments on our own experience. To address your question of how to saute without oil, get a great either ceramic pan or a stainless steel pan. It works best in those pans as opposed to a non-stick pan. Get it really hot with no oil in the pan, obviously. And you're going to chop up some onions when it's searing hot. Like you could put droplets of water and you'd hear it sizzle. That's when it's hot enough. You throw in a chopped, fresh, raw onion. Keep the pan moving and allow the natural sugars in the onion to come out. They will begin to brown the onion and caramelize it. And just as it begins to get translucent and begin to brown, you'll splash it with some low-sodium vegetable stock. And allow it, again, continue shaking the pan, allow it to absorb the stock, and you would be amazed how delicious and caramelized those onions are. You know, let go of the heat, turn it off, and you've got delicious caramelized onions. I challenge you to, in a taste test, to know the difference. And if you're somebody who's cooking today in a pool of oil, make it your commitment to cut down, you know, and use 7/8 less. You know, just a teaspoon, and try doing what I just described to you, and add the teaspoon at the end if you need it. But you'll be really surprised at the results.
We might spray something, and stock has the oil in it too, so we don't need to be concerned about what's in the stocks that we buy. If I'm buying prepackaged stock.
Check out, just make sure that there's not a lot of sodium in
Yeah,
it.
you gotta watch your sodium levels.
That's the rules.
And also, one thing is non-stick pans. You want to stay away from non-stick pans. Most of them are aluminum, and aluminum's not good to cook in. But just like she said, get a hot pan. I cook it. I mean, my wife calls it fire because I turn everything on full blast, no matter what. I used to put a little splash of oil and then put whatever else I need in there. But I cook with stainless steel and I cook with high heat. Especially, you don't have to sear everything. You don't have to saute everything. Try steaming. There's different variations. I mean, going on from here, I mean, we're going to have some classes as well on how to prepare your foods, but you don't definitely necessarily need to sear everything. You'll need to saute an amount of oil and butter. Butter, for me, is like gone. I mean, butter is no good. It's horrible. But there's some other butters that you have. They have some soy butters that I see now. Earth Balance. I mean, there's other things that you can use. And if you do necessarily need something to saute in, you can most likely use those.
You can also use coconut water to saute. You know, a lot of options out there, and I'm happy to share more of that with you outside.
Coconut water.
Juices, coconut water, fresh, orange juice, lemon juices, and to the question about what you should drink all day, water, 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 water. Squeeze an orange in it, squeeze a lemon in it. I wake up and I like to have a squeeze an orange into my water. Sets the intention for my day. It's detoxifying. Drink water by itself when you wake up. It oxygenates your brain and your blood. If you put a tea bag in it, your body needs to digest the tea bag. Tomorrow, do something that they call, it's an Ayurvedic principle. Drink warm water and you will get hooked on it. It relaxes you when you're feeling stressed.